Hello, dear friend, and welcome back. I love having you here. I love creating the episodes for you, just thinking that you're going to be here with me. Maybe you're listening in your car, maybe in your kitchen as you are stirring the risotto or whatever it is. Thank you for joining me again and again. It is a true honor and pleasure to be part of your life and to have you part of mine. This episode today is about the incredible power of mindset. I discovered mindset work more than 25 years ago, and I actually believe it's the ultimate hack to everything. I'm sitting down today with my friend Lisa Kalmin, who has been working in mindset work for probably 30 years, and we have a conversation that I'm delighted to bring to you about the stories we create, the beliefs we shape for ourselves and what we think we can accomplish in our life and our business based on what happened to us before the age of 7. And the incredible transformation that can happen when you reframe your experiences, create new beliefs, new neural pathways in the brain, when you can transform your mindset to no longer be blocked by fear. This is essentially my journey. If I look back at the last 25 years of my business and my life, and the fact that I went from being in abusive relationships to having this incredible marriage with Derek and these great kids and all that, and where I plan to go, it all comes down to my mindset. This is why in Bold Heart, we have a mindset first methodology. Everything I teach to our women business owners, and even in Bold Heart Woman, it's all about mindset. And I just want to share with you vulnerably that I've decided to go deeper in my own mindset work. I've been feeling this urge. If you listen to the Divine Discontent episode, you know that I feel like something new, bigger is trying to come through, to be birthed through me. And so I've decided to dig deep again with my own mindset, really looking at everything that we're talking about in this episode and even deeper, to increase my service in the world, to increase my reach and my impact. I feel like 2025 is going to be my year of my next very big level. I share that with you because I feel like it might be yours too. I feel like a lot of women are sensing that something big is happening in the best way possible. And it's because of that that I've decided to bring back my 3-day event that I have done more than, I think, like 20 times. It used to be called the Mindset Retreat. It's where every year, sometimes twice a year, I would hire a whole event team, rent out a ballroom for 3 days in cities all over the US and deliver a life transforming mindset event. And thousands of people have gone through it. And I retired it a few years ago. I think I just needed a break, if that's okay to say. And yet the universe has been knocking on my door saying, it's time, Fabienne. We need you to dust it off, completely renew it, and bring it back better than ever. And so I've been listening to the call, and end of February of 2025, I'm bringing back this mindset event, but this time it's going to be called Infinite Possibilities. And in January, the first week of January, I'll be releasing pre-registration tickets. It's happening on Zoom. You can experience it from the comfort of your home. And if the idea of getting out of your own way and allowing yourself to be seen in a safe way, increasing your reach and your impact and your revenues, and getting out from that stuckness and that plateau that you might be feeling, and really stepping into the most magnetically confident woman you've ever been in your business and in your life, then I want you to join me for Infinite Possibilities. If you are not yet on my email list, you need to get on there so you can grab the tickets that are ridiculously affordable. Maybe I need to change my mind about how little I'm charging. I want you to get on the email list by going to boldheart.com/inner circle. I'll also link it in the show notes. But the power of mindset is that hack that makes everything work instead of staying stuck. So a little taste of that will be my interview on this podcast episode with my friend Lisa. Take note and then join me if it feels like an aligned offer. All right. I hope you love this episode. I'll see you soon. Welcome back to the Fabienne Show. I'm so delighted to introduce you to my friend Lisa. Lisa and I met at the Transformational Leadership Council. You've been a member for a long time, Lisa, and I just became a member a year ago, and we hit it off immediately, and I knew I wanted to have you on this podcast. Would you introduce yourself to our listeners and just tell us a little bit about you?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, I just want to thank you for having me. Yes, I have been a member for quite a few years. And I have to tell you, it was that meeting with you and a couple other incredible women that I connected with for the first time. I said to myself, oh, finally, I found my people here. It felt like a first meeting and feeling at home to me. It really did. I remember the moment we were in a session together and you talked about this podcast, and I was like, of course, what a brilliant way to use your talent, because I just could sense your groundedness, your beauty, your connection, your brilliance, and your wisdom. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I have been in the transformational work for 37 years. I did transformational work when I was in my 20s, and I lived it, and I worked at transformational companies, and now I have my own company. When we shift the way we see the world, everything shifts. Everything opens up. We can't control the conditions of our lives. The brilliant book, Man's Search for Meaning.
Yeah.
Viktor Frankl. We can't control the conditions, but we can always, I think something he says is, man can always find beauty even in the most horrific conditions and circumstances. We can see our world in a way that empowers us. So that's really what I love to work with women and everybody, all my clients and students. I have twin boys that are 14. And I didn't birth them, like I didn't have them, but I have them. So that has been, I thought I got how to operate in the world until I had kids, and then it was all up for grabs.
We were just talking before hitting record that you have two 14-year-old boys and I have a 15-year-old boy, and this is my third time I'm going through the teenage years, and it just throws you for a loop every time, even though you might have done it before. Let's talk about this idea of, you said, how you see the world. Let's unravel and unpack that, because there's so much richness there. I learned that a long time ago when I started doing personal growth and development work in my 20s, and realizing that we are miserable not by the things that happen to us, but how we deal with them.
Yes.
So I would love your 30 plus year expertise on this. And I know that you've also written a book along these lines. So I want to dive way into this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, as you say that, it's funny because I think I read a quote once from the Dalai Lama. His quote was something like 95% of human suffering is how we relate to the events in our life. Mm-hmm. So my book is called The Problem is How You See the Problem.
I love that title.
Yeah, thank you. We as human beings, as most people who've done some personal development work know, that through our upbringing, through our childhood, through our family of origin, through our culture, there's many influences. Our experiences, our own personal experiences, both joyful and wonderful and terrible and tragic, start to create a worldview, a way of looking at life that basically keeps us safe, keeps us emotionally safe. So the beliefs we start to form through our upbringing, and look, it could be as simple as somebody's dad wasn't around, or their parents divorced, or dad left. The emotional experience is so difficult as a child, and we don't want to feel that unconsciously. This all happens unconsciously. So for everybody listening, what I want you to know is you're not messed up. You didn't do anything wrong. This is the human condition. That pain is so deep, we don't want to feel it. So we make up a concept, generate a belief. The belief could be, I'm not lovable. The belief could be men don't love me or men leave. It could be anything, any of the above. So what happens is then we start to validate our beliefs. And because human being loves to be right about whatever they're being right about.
Is this what we would call confirmation bias?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, absolutely. I love that term.
Would you explain what confirmation bias is?
Yeah. So what happens is if I have this sort of experience and I don't want to feel that pain again, so I make up a belief that maybe I can't trust. Let's use that one. I can't trust men. Then this is some quantum physics stuff gets thrown in there, but I'm not going down that too because I'm not an expert. What happens is we begin to confirm our way of seeing it. We confirm our bias. We actually, if we're 10 years old and dad left when we were 5, we might find that we can only see the jerky boys in the class, the bullies in the class, the boys that make fun of us or call us names, even though there might be some nice boys right there on the playground with us.
Right.
Or as we get older, it could be even that there's 2 wonderful, nice young men who want to date us, but the one we're attracted to is that naughty boy, the guy who's not going to follow through. So it's the way we start to attract what we believe.
It's like we pick a filter, and we could pick this filter or this filter, like the sunglasses, right? I could look at through the dark sunglasses or the pink sunglasses. Whatever filter or sunglasses I choose from, I will see differently. I will see life differently.
Absolutely.
So if I'm not meant to be successful in business, I'll show every reason why it's true. But all the other reasons that it's not true are also there. I'm just not looking at those.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a little like when somebody buys a new car, at least, the US folks who drive a lot. I know you're in Europe. You buy a new car, you suddenly see that car everywhere and you didn't see it before. And it's almost like, God, I never thought about it this way. This is great. So, you know how on social media, when we begin to click stuff, we get more of that stuff. The algorithms literally, in my mind, have now followed our confirmation bias, as you would call it, like whatever we're thinking we get more of. So it's a huge awakening for people when they realize, oh my goodness, I'm just playing out this pattern over and over again because it's being held in place by some belief that ultimately got started when I was younger.
So one of the things that I do in my business coaching is that when somebody comes to me and they're having a hard time with something, I will almost always say, as it relates to whatever the issue is, tell me what happened around this before the age of 7. She'll say, how did you know? And I'll say, was it mom or dad or teacher or whatever? And she's like, it was mom. And I'm like, so what happened? What meaning did you create? How is that meaning still driving your business decisions today at the age of 45? She's like, oh my God, is this kind of what we're talking about?
Exactly that. And that's so great. I love how you framed that. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. One of the things I'd say to folks, if you wanted to do a little bit of this on your own as you're listening, where in your life do you have a pattern? What I mean by pattern is you may do different actions, but you end up with the same result. So I used to say, different job, the same boss appears, or different amount of money comes into your bank account at the beginning of the month, always the same amount left over at the end, different relationships, same breakup, anything like that. In that pattern is, like you said, hey, I'm stuck here. I'm going to add one little step. What's the experience I have around this? Frustration, powerlessness, anger.
Yeah.
Okay. When in my childhood, under the age of 7 is great. 7, we say 8 or 7, somewhere in there. It's usually 4, by the way.
Wow.
That's all unconscious, but it helps them if you give them a little more time. When was that experience? So when did you feel that? When did you feel powerless? When did you feel angry? When did you feel discarded or not listened to or any of that? And it could be, like you said, mom or dad. It could be a teacher. It could be a coach. It could be grandma, grandpa, if they were involved in their life a lot. And then what did you make up? Like, what was the story you told yourself or the belief or the way you related to it, the interpretation? how have you played that out? Because that's where, oh my gosh, I'm running it. Most human beings feel like they're running around putting out fires, but they're the pyromaniac.
Yes, so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So many people are running around putting out fires, and they're the one who caused the fire. They're the
Yeah.
pyromaniac.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It's sobering a little bit. On the other side of that is, yes, have that moment like, holy crap. If it's me, I can do something about it. If it's me, I can shift it. I can transform it. I can step into something new.
It's fascinating that our little 5-year-old, 7-year-old creates a meaning from a limited interaction that still drives our decisions and our interactions and our way of being today.
Yes. And terrifying as a parent.
Yes. Oh my God. I don't know if I'm a good parent. My kids tell me I'm a good parent, but I'm like, oh my God, I've made so many mistakes.
Yeah. Some of the work I do is an experiential training where people get to kind of really release anything with their mom and dad. And just as I did, my parents were great. They were super loving and I was never abused and nothing tragic happened to me. Even with that, there's always opportunity to let stuff go.
Yeah. I think about the times where I wasn't the parent that I wanted to be. It's because I'm tired or I have a long to-do list or I didn't sleep at night. Yeah, just whatever. But we can create meanings as a child.
Yeah. So let me give them a way out really quickly.
Yeah.
So let's say something happened and what happened, we get triggered. Here's where it plays out. Your boss gives you, or your client dumps something on you. Something happens at late Friday afternoon. You're like, oh my God, this is going to definitely wreck my weekend or whatever. So it's an event. The event itself is neutral. It has no inherent meaning because if somebody else could see that event as like, oh yay, I got more business or whatever. The value is noticing where am I triggered? Where do I have an emotional reaction? Okay, I'm frustrated. I feel put upon, da, da, da. So stop a second, give yourself grace about the emotional reaction. Like, oh, I really am feeling this way right this minute. Like,
not reacting.
See, you can be angry. It just doesn't work to be angry on other people. So experience your anger. Some people are smart about this. They take a walk, they leave the room, they yell at a pillow. I don't know. So notice the experience without reacting on others and then go, wait a minute. Just think the event I'm getting upset about is probably not where the source of this emotion started. So
it's usually a long time ago.
Exactly. So what is that pattern of feeling put upon or whatever? I'll share it really quickly. For years, when I would go to car repairs or whatever, I would get really anxious and worked up like they're going to rip me off.
Yeah.
I had this moment of where is that? This is just a person doing their job. Where is that from? It goes back to my mom had some mental illness as a kid. I felt ripped off from my mom. It was so underneath. It took me a while to figure out, like, what is this really from? I don't have a history of getting ripped off.
Right.
So anyway, it took some digging, but I got there. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm projecting it out, creating more stress and drama for myself.
So how can we use this process to make life easier in a practical, everyday way?
Great. Yeah, great. I give a little scenario in my book about this too, about some steps. So the first thing is when something happens that you feel upset about, notice first you're upset. See, some people
give you a real life example.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love that.
Yeah, because I notice that this is what I'm about to share with you, whether it's the dishwasher or something else, it shows up all the time. So yeah. I'm here for my free session, Lisa.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh boy, I'm probably putting myself on the line. We've been teaching this to our children for years. When you wake up in the morning, as you're making yourself breakfast, just empty the dishwasher. That's your job. Your job is to fill the dishwasher, empty the dishwasher. Yet again, Lisa. I don't even have to finish my sentence.
No, I have it around.
I'll make my coffee. The dishwasher is full. The sink is full. Hi, insert child's name.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've talked about this many times. Did you not hear my words? And I think I have this thing about not being listened to, not being heard.
So you go to the dishwasher. By the way, I laugh so hard because it's either about brushing your teeth or wearing their Invisaligns for me.
Yeah.
So many times, or put your clothes in the hamper and they're always 2 feet away from the hamper.
I'm being honest, the feeling is like anger, not being listened to. Where does that come from? Oh my goodness.
Right, exactly. It's anger and frustration about not being listened to. So you know why you're having the anger.
Because I could just blow it off and be like, could you just take care of this next time?
Right.
Or like, could you just do this after school?
Exactly. You could be like, my kid could be a drug addict, so this is better than that.
I'm not saying I get angry. I'm saying it triggers did you not listen to me? Did you not hear me?
Right. So what's the feeling that goes with, I know you don't get angry. What's the emotion that goes with, did you not listen to me? Feeling not listened to.
Yeah, feeling ignored, bypassed, not valued, like my words don't matter. I can't believe we're having a session on the Fabienne show.
I love it. It's great. No, because I have a little bit of this working myself about this pretty much with my kids often, like daily almost. So when you look back into your childhood, where do you see you weren't valued, you weren't listened to, you didn't have a voice the way you wanted to, you couldn't express?
Oh, my parents got divorced when I was 8. I feel like that just like we didn't talk about it as a family. Dad moved out. And then when my mother, 2 years later, this is going to turn into a therapy session, Lisa, but my mother, I never used this word a long time ago, but now I use it because it is what it is. She kidnapped me and my sister from Paris and brought us to the US to live there permanently. And we never were checked in on. We never knew. And we never talked about it even after. So I feel like my voice, what I think, what I say isn't valuable. Maybe that's why I became a coach and I talk all day long.
And you have a podcast.
And I have a podcast now. That brings up a little bit of tears.
Wow. Well, your emotional needs didn't matter. Like somehow your emotional needs weren't met. My mom, she was around all the time. My parents divorced much later. I was in my 20s, but her emotional needs were always more important than mine. Like drama, this and that. Had some mental illness when I was like 7 or 8. So it took me a while to get to my fear and my resistance to opening up about my own needs and wants was because I didn't feel like they were met by her. It wasn't physical. It wasn't affection. It wasn't, but whatever happened with her, trip over was always more important. So in that, for you, seeing that you weren't
heard.
Yeah, you weren't heard.
Yeah.
If you just got honest with and authentic, what could you say?
It reminds me of not being listened to or valued. My opinion was not valued when I was younger.
Because you can say that, and then you can say, so here's why I'd really love you to be more focused and do this. When he does, you can say, oh, thank you. Like you can be in appreciation. And when he doesn't, you can go, oh, you forgot, and not make it personal to you.
Right. Because he really did forget, but this happens because I'm the common denominator.
Yeah, we have to validate our story. Not have to like we want to, but and if we're not present to the story itself, we will continue to validate it and attract it.
So just to report back what I think I heard was to say, I'm feeling XYZ because this happened. And I just want you to be aware that I'm feeling that because of that. Like, I would
probably say something like, you know what? I really notice that when you don't do the dishwasher or something, and I start to get upset because I think you're not listening to me. That's what happened with your grandmother. You don't even have to give the details.
Yeah.
So what I want you to know is I would really appreciate if you would follow through on this. And I'm going to work on not getting so resentful or whatever the
thing is.
Because I know my sons feel good news. My sons have been around me for 14 years. Bad news, I get it back.
Yeah. Oh my God. My kids throw my stuff, my coaching back at me. They're like, Mom, get your own water. This is an issue of personal responsibility. I'm like, oh no, you didn't get to tell me that.
You're victimizing yourself. I'm like, Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Yeah, sometimes. So anyway, and then you can say, I'm going to work at not getting resentful or whatever. And then the next time it happens, go, there it is. There's my opportunity. Boom. When my mind is right, I'm clear. What we can do is hold the space for them, but not control their actions, which of
I
course
like what we're doing in this scenario. It's not difficult, right? Just like notice when I get triggered. Where does that come from?
yeah,
It has to do with me because what's happened is probably not that big of a deal.
right.
Speak to the person, bring context to
Mm-hmm. Yes.
why you might be feeling this way.
Yeah.
Ask for them to be mindful
Yeah.
and then also say, I'll be more mindful too.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Asking, this is a vulnerable part of this, besides revealing it, also asking for support.
How would you ask for support in that dishwasher situation?
Well, it would really support me if you'd follow through on this.
Oh, wow. That's a very honoring way to ask for it.
Yeah.
Can't you do this?
Right. Right. Again, when my mind is wrong, I just want to make them do what I want them to do.
Yeah.
But when my mind is right, I want to honor their beings, their little souls' evolution, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
When I went, I was fortunate enough to go spend 10 days in Dharamsala a few years ago to learn from the Dalai Lama and Samdang Rinpoche. It was really an unbelievable experience. Full days learning about compassion, equanimity, all of the core principles that the Dalai Lama teaches.
That's
One of
incredible.
the big things that I got, among many, when I met him was that he talked about expectations cause suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have expectations, there is no suffering. Really look at that through. So let's bring it to a business context because a lot of
Sure.
them have their own business. Sometimes we launch and we're like, this is going to be a huge launch. And then if it isn't, there's this huge disappointment. Sometimes they feel like a failure.
Yes.
And it's based on what happened on the outside, but it's based on the expectation that they had. Now, I believe in having intention and then
Absolutely.
also just not basing your worth on external circumstances. Can
Yeah.
you speak to us about expectations?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, my favorite quote, thank you for bringing that up, is expectation is premeditated resentment.
Ooh, say it one more time.
Expectation is premeditated resentment. I know. When I heard that, I'm like, oh, guilty as charged.
Yeah.
Guilty as charged. So there's a big distinction between expectation and intention. What's the intention?
Mm.
For me, intention is kind of the intangible piece of being committed. It's what happens between you and you. Intention is that desire plus clarity plus belief plus faith, and you're like in the zone.
I've never heard those 4 words put together. I love them.
Thank you. I've never done that before. I was like,
I'm going to have to go back and listen to this and write down those 4 words again.
Yeah, me too. So it's that dictates then our actions and how, because everyone listening to this, including you and me, have had moments where something goes, you haven't thought you have an intention and it goes haywire. There's a huge block, something, whether it's buying a home, whether it's starting a business, whether it's raising your children, going through a tough time. And through our clear intention and all the ways I just said that, we figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So that's distinct from expectation. Expectation is, for me, it's tied up with entitlement. Like, I should have this. Not all about deserving worth. I'm not talking about that, but as if I'm already entitled, whether I do all of the things I need to do or not. So what for me fuels intention is vision. What is it that matters to me? What is it that I want? What is not only what I want, but the experience I'm looking for? So that launch that somebody's going to do, what is it that you want? Well, I want to launch. I want to make X amount of money or whatever. Okay. Why? Why does that matter? Why does your magic in the world matter? Why does it make a difference? What will that affect? How will that affect you? How will that affect your children? How will it affect your legacy? How will it affect the people you touch? For example, my business partner and I work with women. We have a badass women's leadership retreat, but it's badass for me is like I was saying to you, women who do laundry at 10 o'clock at night because that's the time they have, or call
Yeah.
their mom every day to check in. And I think women are just incredible. But it's about, we've lived in a world that was very masculine, very driven by the masculine energy. We are now given the opportunity to access our, not just our divine feminine, but how do we generate, how do we lead? How do we generate results with the ease and grace and flow of that?
Mm.
So women that are working so hard, like the women we work with, working so hard, taking care of everything, holding everything, how do they honor themselves, not just burn themselves up taking care of everybody, as well as through allowing of the really magic that I think we have as women, holding the space, accomplishing, connecting, as well as manifesting actual results without all the push, heart burnout, and all of that.
Yeah. What is it that you want to say to that woman who's doing the laundry at 10 p.m. and calling her mom every day while she's driving to that big client meeting and making
Right.
sure that the groceries are being delivered and dropping off that casserole to the neighbor who's going through chemotherapy?
Yeah.
What do you want to say to her? Because you know what? A lot of the Art and Delicious listeners, they are that person. They have
Yeah.
such good hearts. And sometimes they're like, is this all there is to life?
Right. So, first thing I want to say to you is thank you. Thank you for taking care of the people you love in only the way you can. Please know that our children wouldn't be who they are, our marriages, our families wouldn't be who they are. Secondly, you are absolutely deserving of your own soul's richness and energy and wholeness. I'm going to invite you to really connect with two things. One, what do I think will happen if I don't hold everything?
Mm.
Like, what is, because I think some of us historically have kept that in place because it validates us at some level.
Yeah.
Like it'll fall apart without me, kind of thing. Number two, what would be possible if you sat down with all the players, your children, your husband, your partner, whoever's there, and say, I love you. I love taking care of you. I'm at the point I need support.
I love you. I'm at the point where I need support. I want you to hear that, ladies. This is Bold Hearts. I'm at the point where I need support is a powerful question, even though you're asking for help, which is usually seen as weak. In this case, it is incredibly powerful.
Yeah. Then talk through what that partnership may look like. Now, they may not, especially if you've got a lot of like husbands and boys, and they may not get it right away. They may say, well, mom, let's see, I could pick my clothes up off the floor. I could make the bed. Maybe little things that you think, oh God, it's not what I'm talking about, but give them the grace to try with you,
Yeah.
to make movement, to make steps. And
And
it may be
feel like they're helping you. Yeah. And just to meet you, maybe not halfway, but to meet you on the path to halfway.
Yeah. Another piece of this with your partner, especially if you have kids that you're taking care of, younger kids, I'm really clear that most women, moms, hold the space. Even if the kids aren't right with them, they hold the space. I think a conversation that is heartfelt and also direct and clear with your partner, especially if it's a man, husband, is like, I'm holding the space. I need you to hold the space at times. So, for example, I'm going to go do a retreat this weekend or 2 months from now. I'm going to go be out this tomorrow night with my girlfriends for a dinner or spa day or something. I need to not worry about any of this when that happens.
Yeah. Let the
Now,
test.
he can do that.
Right. Yeah.
If we tell him that's what he needs to be and do, he will do that. They will do pretty much what we tell him to do.
But sometimes we don't even ask.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating. I lead these quarterly retreats, 2 days for our leverage track members, those that move from 6 figures to 7 figures with my help. And they're full days.
Yeah.
I'm still fascinated. Listen, my lovelies, if you're listening, I'm not criticizing you, but I'm fascinated by the fact that you're picking up, you're like in the middle of our meeting. I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to go pick up my kid from wherever. I'm thinking, we know about these meetings like 4 to 6 months ahead.
Right.
Sure, we can get somebody to go so you can be present in this meeting that will help you turn your whole business around and give you your life and freedom back. But yet we as women still hold the space, as you're saying, 100%. We are responsible for everything that some of these things could be delegated a long time ahead of time.
Just ask for partnership.
Yeah.
And say, look, I've got this retreat and can you pick that? Oh, I'm on a business trip. Okay, great. How can we handle it? How can we take care of it? Like, what are other options? So many women don't even go there.
No.
So many women don't even go there. And it's critical.
I think it's so I'm launching a membership.
Oh, congratulations.
Called Bold Heart Women. And it's about really taking up more space,
Good.
Increasing your self-worth and becoming the woman you've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
And part of that is setting boundaries. And part of that is raising your standards. And part of that is getting your needs met. This whole idea of asking for help and what is it that's going to make me feel like I am not at the bottom of my priority list. I think it's this having a voice and using it and being unapologetic and kind and elegant in what I've learned about my husband and my kids, or really anybody, is if you are like, it never works. Like that does work is, would you be willing to help me?
Exactly.
Fill the dishwasher.
Exactly.
Giving yourself permission to use that voice and make those requests and take up more space. And I really appreciate that you're giving us processes and actual words to use. These may seem like they're not a big deal, but once you master it, would you be willing to fill the dishwasher for me?
That's right.
Would you be willing in 2 months to hold the space so that when I'm with my spa day with my girlfriends, I don't get the text about, can I go over to Maddie's house? And all of that. I really appreciate, because then we build our muscle to be bold-hearted women in other areas of our life.
Absolutely. It's critical when you're asking, would you be willing to, that if they say no for any reason, which they probably won't, but if they did, that you're not all like, well, see, you never love me. Versus, okay, can we talk about that? Talk it through. Again, if you have the expectation of yes, as you're asking, it's not really a request, because all requests can be accepted, denied, or counter-offered.
Accepted, denied, or counter-offered. Oh my God, you come up with the best words, Lisa.
I actually think that's Fernando Flores.
Okay, well, you brought it to me, so I thank you for that.
Yeah, so a promise means you're going to do something in time. A request is you're asking somebody for something, and either they accept it, and once they accept it, it actually is their commitment, even though they may not hold it that way, or they can deny it, because a true request needs to be able to be denied. So I'll give you a quick example, simple, from what we've been talking about. I'll ask my boys to brush their teeth, brush their teeth, brush their teeth. And if at a certain point in the night before they go to bed, it is no longer a request, it is a demand.
Yes.
I, as mom, gets to demand that. I'm in the position I can do that. Doesn't work very often with many people in our lives, but my kids are not 18 yet. Yes. So, but a request means it actually can be denied. So don't make a request in a concealed demand way. Like, you're going to ask, right? Aren't you? Because then they're going to be like, and then if they deny, then see if you can counter offer. Okay, well, if you can't do that, like, let's have lunch at 1. Well, I can't do that. Could you have lunch at 1:30? Oh, yeah, I could probably do that. Yeah. That's a very simple example. But promises and requests move everything forward. So women in business use promises and requests to move things forward. Okay. Client, I request you give me that personal questionnaire back to me by X.
Yeah. I want to, knowing that we only have a few minutes left, I want to bring up a topic that you and I have in common, but I want to take your take. I want to have your take on this. 3 words. Divine feminine rising.
Ooh, I tingle with that. Thank you. Yeah, my business partner and I started these Badass Women's Retreats in 2019, and we stopped for COVID and then went back. because we had this innate sense that what's going to evolve our world, our planet to the next level is the feminine joining the masculine to move us forward.
In
The
the
feminine being,
alchemical marriage, right?
yes,
We're not
yes,
looking at a matriarchy, the
no,
alchemical marriage of the feminine and the masculine with equal
yes.
power and sovereignty.
Because women look at things from holistic, nurturing, how can the whole win? That women, through living in a more masculine world, especially in business, have had to utilize so much of that masculine energy, push, push, push. So
Well,
we
to
wanted,
be seen, to feel valued, because those were the rules of the game. If I want to feel valued in corporate or even in my own business, I need to act like a man. Of course, it doesn't work long term.
no, we always end up looking bitchy and angry.
Yeah,
You know, that's the stereotype.
for sure.
So how do we as women access that and then utilize it in all domains of our life, our business, our family, etc., and to move our world forward with ease and grace? Now, as we certainly have seen, the potential of feminine leadership is arising, which I'm thrilled about. It's my experience and my guess is it's not going to happen without some bumps along the road and some pushback.
Yeah.
So I'd say to the beautiful ladies listening is you're on the right track. Who you are is magnificent. Your innate wisdom and intuition is right on. Don't sell yourself out and don't let other people sell you out. And you don't have to do it by fighting.
I really got from Ruth Bader Ginsburg that if you want to be listened to by traditional factions, you can't actually get that passionate because then they tune you out and say, she's hysterical.
Right.
Or
Yes.
control yourself. So what I learned from RBG is you actually have to be really calm and you can say just about anything when you're really calm.
Calm and clear. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you're not suppressing something. In the initial reaction, you're suppressing something rather than letting yourself experience that, then coming from a place of, like you said, personal responsibility and giving the opportunity to be personally responsible.
I'm loving this conversation.
It's great. We can do
Yeah,
another one sometime. I'd love
thank
that.
you. Tell us once more about your book.
My book, it's not a long book. It's literally like 110 pages. And it's a handbook of how to live into a transformational life, which one of the major pieces is you need to not react to every event happening to you. The problem is how you see the problem. So once you can see that this event is the event and I'm bringing my relationship to it, if I can change that, shift that, then I've got my power back.
Yeah.
The event doesn't have power over me. I've got power. And then beyond that, a few other distinctions of transformation. So it's called The Problem is How You See the Problem. It's $10 on Amazon. It's a handbook. I think you can pick it up anywhere, look at it, and get something out of it.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you for these words of wisdom. In fact, is there anything that you would like to leave us with from everything that we talked about today? If we were to encapsulate this into one phrase, one sentence, or one.
Don't let anyone or anything dull your magic.
Oh, yes, please, to that. Thank you, Lisa, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for being with us in this conversation about empowerment and just being our best selves in every area of our life. Thank you all.
Thank you for the opportunity, Fabienne. Thank you. So beautiful.